Okay, so this is a Lafayette HB-600, which I've spent way too many hours on today for a 1960s CB radio. It has all the 23 channels. As you'll see, I'm transmitting with 4 watts at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm talking to Steve, my good old mate 177 in Wodonga. Now, we haven't been able to get the receiver quite to where we'd like it to be yet, but I am hearing Steve. Now, keep in mind, Steve normally on a modern set sometimes can be a difficult copy just due to the conditions, but, well, no, not conditions, so there's a big hill in the way. All right, let me put this radio back into receive, and Steve 177, go ahead. Yeah, I got you. And for people just on the video, this has a separate switch for S meter or RF. So at the moment, I'm in the S meter position, and then when I, I switch it over, I'd go into the show me how much RF I'm pushing. Now I'll just put that over there, and that shows you the RF setting that I'm at the moment. But okay, I'll just check, Steve. 231. Are you hearing us at all? Go ahead. What's that, mate? Go ahead. Oh, it's right down. The detector circuits for AM are really average on these things. They need a lot of signal to really, get a clearer signal, unfortunately, or like reception. I sound like I'm just starting out when I say these things. But this is a 1960s HB-600 Lafayette, and you'll see on the video, I'm just showing inside the radio. There's millions of crystals in them. There's a lot of germanium bits and pieces in there. And there's some, 2SC bits and pieces as well. It's not all just PNP stuff. This has had a transformer change out from 110 volts through to 240 volts. And look, this thing is receiving at about 1 microvolt at the moment. So it's not doing its 0.5 of a microvolt like we'd like it to do. It's taken a lot to get it to 1 microvolt, to be honest. Anyway, I'll put it back to you, Steve. 231 to go first. I'll just see if I can receive you a bit better. Go ahead. Oh, boy. I think they're dipping down a bit here. I wish I could get better signals on these guys. Yeah, unfortunately, dropped down just then. It's been doing that too. It does come back up a bit sometimes, so it's not all bad news. When you see the video, you'll see what I'm up to. But I have been sitting here playing around, and I've had to go through my SAMS manual, and as you'll see in the video here, the SAMS manual, and oh my goodness, this has been a nightmare. Anyway, what we do to try and get history going again. All right, 177. I reckon you're coming in better at the moment for some reason. So you go ahead, Steve. 177.
Yeah, well, I think there's no two ways about that. I can't give you no problem. That's the way I check it. It's not just on the audio. I might help a bit you're in. But I've got no problem here. I understand that's pretty much
it's getting better.
What you're saying, as long as the noise will stay down, over.
That was heaps better, Steve. I've got to say, and I'll come over to, just so that we could get the effect on video of the 4 watts of transmit power. That was much better, mate, actually. Now, people on the video are going to say, geez, I'd hate to sort of see what you thought was bad then. But look, you'll hear on the video, I could actually decipher what you were saying then, and that was coming through a lot better. So it does show the conditions. When you've got a really deaf receiver like I'm using at the moment, it can make a difference. Wait till you see the video, mate. This thing is so old. I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. It's just been... it was supposed to come to me totally working, and mate, I couldn't charge the hours I've spent on this. It's just... Anyway, we're getting there. I still haven't got it quite where I want it to be yet, but you'll love the video. You probably won't understand much of what you're saying to me because of it's the detector circuit in there is still not quite right. Anyway, back to you, 177. Give us another over, 229.
Yeah, okay, then, no problem. He's on another radio now. You can hear a little better. It's still being a little bit better for him. So I'll go across to him, and perhaps maybe you can sort of get through this time. So you take it, please, in the field.
Hey, got you. 231, Steve. Got you then, mate. Got you. No problems. It's a little bit up and down, but a lot of that's to do with I've still got some little. I'd like to redesign the receiver on this a little bit, but I can't do that. That would defeat the purpose of this old beast. But yeah, getting in now, 231. Thanks for coming up, mate. There's a bit of a. I didn't give you guys much notice, but I do appreciate both of you. 231 to take. Go ahead. Let's have a look at that. Delta tune. Noise blanker. Yeah, Roger, Steve. Got most of that. It might not pick up on the video quite as well. Back to the transmit needle for you guys. Hello, test. And I'm using a thing called range boost, by the way. Now, watch this, guys. When you're listening to me, that's range boost off. Range boost off. Now, that's range boost on. And you'll notice the audio changes quite a bit. And I might show that on the monitor in a minute, just for a bit of fun. Just hang on, let me just sort of put the video on pause for a second. Just a little bit more.
That's normally how it works anyway. Alright, Roger, yeah, that's all it works. It's saying that an Explorer, so in here, most of the vertical is a bit low, but it's only used for monitoring mainly. But that's alright, it does the job, and that's the main thing of it.
Okay, now let's get back to the reality. My apologies. I know that some of that would have been difficult to pick up. This is an old 1960s Lafayette HB-600, as I probably pointed out in my excitement. It has a beautiful 1960s original microphone with it, and it has an original case. And I, luckily, if it wasn't for owning these manuals from Ross Keogh from Strictly Ham, I would be in big trouble. But I'll put it the right way around. But luckily, I have the manual for the HB-600 in, well, certainly all the information. And what was rather handy was, of course, all the board layouts, but not just that. I get to the most important bit. I'll finally get there. Parts list, which was very handy, but the circuit, so I could inject signals. And I had to invent my own. By the way, I didn't do that. I would never write on there. I doubt Ross would either. I'm not sure who did that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the circuit became invaluable. Anyway, put that over there. So, the problem is that I don't know exactly how good a HB-600 would have been with its receiver sensitivity. What I can tell you is I'm receiving it about around 1 microvolt. We're hearing that there, 1.25 now. Look, if I go down one and come up, 0.8 I can hear it. 0.8, yeah, 0.9 call it. And of course when I bring it up, 5 microvolts, 17 microvolts. Let's put on 50 microvolts. And ideally, normally that should be about S9. Now, that may not be the case. Close enough. All right, so, and this is showing you the receivers. Look, I can dodgy up that S meter, and I can make it look S9, but I don't want to do that because that's not how we want to do it. Ideally, I should be getting better performance out of the receiver. Now, they use a RF amp in here, and that's just down here. And the receiver lineup is all through here. Sorry, wrong. Sorry. I'm going blind. Sorry, the RF amp is here. There's a mixer just in here. And basically, it all just kind of comes around like so, feeds in at your 455 and the RF amp. I've spent hours on this thing. And you know what? Before I looked at the circuit, let me turn that tone down. Before I looked at the circuit, I thought range boost. Oh, range boost, that sounds great. And when I noticed that on and off didn't work, on receive, I thought, beauty, it's got to be a switch fault or something silly like that. The problem is, I hadn't picked up the circuit at this stage. When I picked up the circuit and had a look, range boost is actually, I'll show you what range boost is. Let's go into this fella here, turn the volume up here. Okay, so, oh, you probably know because we had to play with it just before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. All very nice. And then range boost on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, range boost is a 1960s power mic. Actually, I might leave the power mic on. Yeah, anyway. So, I must admit, I haven't been around Lafayette terminology for a while. Can't say that I haven't got some Lafayette sitting out in the shed. I should know better. But anyway, so when I finally picked up the circuit and stopped sort of thinking I'm just going to fix this thing by fixing a switch, there were problems in the mixer circuit, and oh goodness, I've had to raid bits and pieces everywhere. I've had to, look, it's just been a nightmare. Some radios are not about, they're not about anything but the finished product, and I'm still not happy with this yet. The receiver should be better, I think. Well, I know. Look, I'm not even going to play games here. Look, the problem with this radio is, as you saw from the signals with the two Steves, and I want to thank Steve 177 over in Wodonga and Steve 231 also in Wodonga. They're two good mates of mine, very good mates of mine, who are actually both going for their F calls very soon. They're ready to go, I can tell you. It's just the AMC issues right now. But so we'll have them on amateur radio very soon, and that's going to be next level stuff for them. They're going to have a load of fun. But you know what? I'm not sure they can have any more fun than I just had trying to make a 1960s transceiver with 4 watts. Hang on, let's have a look. I'll tell you exactly. 3.5 watts there. And I reckon that's only because it's warmed up a bit. Go to channel 23. No, about 3.4 watts. So, quite. And just to give you a bit of a look at this, yes, it's got. Hang on, just go there. Channel 1, B, A. I'm not sure what A. We'll have to look what A and B are. They're probably crystal sockets in here somewhere, to be honest, that you could put a frequency into. But yeah, so normal 23 channel AM set, and let's have a look. Is there any empty sockets in there? I didn't even look before. Look at this, A, B, and C. Have to have a look there. All right, we'll have a look on the spectrum analyzer and just see where they go in a minute. Actually, no time like the present, is there? Let's go to spectrum analyzer, and we're on 965 at the moment. So 965 should come up right there, which it does. So if I go to B, no crystal there for sure. No, there's nothing in A and B. All right, well, it was worth having a look, wasn't it? Just to have a bit of a play. And anyone who knows me knows I love playing around with these silly things. All right, so let's put it back onto channel 1. They come fully featured with a noise blanker, which quite seriously was less than average. But you know what? This was probably made for more ignition noise, that sort of stuff. A delta tune, which definitely made a difference. It's just swinging you probably 100 hertz to the side of the frequency, maybe a little more, just on receive. Volume, squelch, and PA. It does have a PA. So there you go. So that's the Lafayette HB-600. The case is not bad condition, to be honest, for its age. And just so you know, this one actually came out of Australia. Ian Keenan, a good mate of mine that loves playing around with a lot of old stuff as well, I'm sure. And look, even he wasn't aware of the receive fault. It was one of those things that, and a lot of it, apart from some coils and some an old transistor we had to replace, a lot of it also was alignment. It just, this obviously, and look, if I was to speak for every radio that I've got sitting out in the shed, I couldn't do that either. It just gets to the stage sometimes that these things over time need a bit of love and care. But this one's been a pain. I've got to be honest. I mean, look, I'm an average radio tech. I get that. I'm not the best on the planet, but Jesus, should not have taken as much time as it has. Anyway, but hey, let's talk about the nice things. Look at the condition of that 1960s mic. Original Lafayette sticker. That's probably a service sticker, I'm guessing, at some stage, not sure. but I just love the print on that. Look, so I'm not going to carry on too much about how much time I've had to do. The only thing I might change, I've got to be honest, I'd like to see better protection on this transformer. The problems I've got with it is that it's sitting in there like so. We've got exposed, not so bad here because exposed 12 volts, but obviously we've got some exposed big volts on the other side over here. And, or have we? Hang on, let's have a look. Actually, no, we don't. So what are they doing there? Let me just have a look here. They're taking a 30 volt rail there. They're going da-da-da. No, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I was actually, for some reason, I was thinking they were doing their primary on here and their secondary. No, the primary's down the bottom, so that's actually good. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, actually, apart from maybe just look, I like personally having covered terminals. I don't like them, but not so bad that they're the secondaries. And maybe we'll just sort of make this sort of fit a little bit nicer. Look, it's not terrible. It's not lots of installations you'll see on 110 volt gear. You're gonna sometimes have to just deal with what you've got, and what they've got down here is just some mounting spaces for the old transformer, and basically somebody at some stage, it may not have even been Ian, could be anybody to be honest, but at some stage someone's done a conversion. Overall, the conversion, now that I've seen the secondaries, they're only the secondaries on the top, it's not so bad at all actually, so I'll stop raving on. All right, well, that's Lafayette HB-600. If you don't get totally excited by this, I do understand. It takes a special type of geeky nutcase like me to, love these sort of old bits and pieces. So please, and if you are struggling to hear the two Steves and you're saying, why are you bothering? Well, that's the whole point. We're bothering because we didn't think we're going to be able to do it. I didn't think I was going to be able to hear a thing at 1 microvolt or 0.8 of a microvolt. I thought, no, I don't know that we're going to have too much success. Something that I will point out, and this is where the AM detection circuits in the 60s, they weren't great. This is they were getting better. I mean, they were certainly worse in the 40s and the 50s, but in the 70s, AM detection circuits really got extremely good. Now, this was not rocket science. It was just something that the lower the signal was, the harder it was to really try and really detect and to get it out. So anyway, all right. Well, I'll put this all back together, and at some stage I'll go back in and have a bit more of a play and see if we can just get that last little down to 0.5. But for now, I'm all tuckered and I can't do any more on this. I'm just so glad we've been able to make a contact, because that'll do for me. As I said, too many hours on this radio. I should have my head read. Anyway, 73 is all. I hope that you appreciate this old stuff as much as I do. If you don't, excuse me, don't panic. There's some newer stuff coming up over the next few weeks. But there is a 1970s ARF 2001 on its way over right now. And if you don't get excited by that, nothing will excite you. I am talking 1970s, was absolutely only 1,000 made. It's rumoured that possibly only between 40 and 50 frequency counter kit ones ever made. So I need to find out more information on that. But this is an ARF 2001 from ARF, which was the military company that went since 1942. 46, sorry, I think it was. 42 sounds a bit sort of silly because it'd be in the middle of the war, wouldn't it? 46, I think they started, and they made some really brilliant stuff. There's no question. So anyway, that one's coming up in the next few weeks. 73s, VK3, Charlie Mike, JDW 229. All the best, and what a bit of old history. Cheers. Please subscribe, and thanks very much for all the comments.